It just keeps on getting easier and easier every day to be a cyber criminal. One of the key areas that used to be very expensive in which to have a service in your stack as a cyber criminal was in the area of remote command and control, especially when controlling devices without the awareness of the owners. And such remote control ends up being the key to an attacker's ability to maintain persistence on a compromised network. Now, this remote command and control is also known as C2, and it's been notoriously difficult to detect or prevent against. And our presentation of Black Hat this week addresses this very issue. But in the meantime, we're finding out how commoditized C2 now has become. And a cyber criminal no longer needs to build their own C2 infrastructure. They can simply rent it on a per host fee basis. This most complex part of a cyber criminal's business is now completely commoditized, and that's what brings us to this first story about a utility called dark utilities. And availability of this is both for Tor on the Onion router network as well as Clear Web Service, and it then hosts malicious payloads. That means the downloads that provide additional infection and footholds over IPFS. It's a distributed file system online. And this clearly lowers the bar for any would-be cyber criminals, which means that we need to raise our defenses once again. In this second story, Google patches critical Android flaws. Actually, there's 36 vulnerabilities, 36 that have been fixed on Android, including this critical issue that can be exploited for remote code execution over Bluetooth. So if your Android devices aren't yet managed or patched, you know what to do. And there's new Linux malware that brute forces SSH servers to breach networks. And so Fortinet said that unlike the majority of Mirai variants, which natively brute force telnet servers using default or weak passwords, WrapperBot exclusively scans and attempts to brute force SSH servers that are configured to accept password authentication. So if you have anything at all that just accepts the password that's publicly available, you know what to do. And Cisco has patched critical vulnerabilities on very popular small business routers. And these updates patch vulnerabilities that could allow threat actors to take control of affected devices. And on our last story, we talk about the conundrum of operations teams whose focus is to make sure that there's an availability of services, and securities teams that then end up locking things down. And so it looks like there's a reasonable compromise, but each organization just needs to find their own sweet spot. And did you know that AirShot is a very cool macOS wallpaper app that automatically displays an aerial shot of your current location? It's not for everyone all the time, but it's pretty cool if you're on business travel for the amount of times that we end up opening up maps just to see what's around us. Take care and see you again next week.